himself to the podium. Okay, the citation of Reverend Professor A.T. Bachirin. Reverend Professor Abraham Bachirin graduated from NKST Secondary School at Dikpo and proceeded to the Reformed Theological Seminary, Mkar, as an ordained pastor of the NKST. Reverend Professor A.T. Bachirin pastored a church for 8 years. In his quest for further education, he attended Kuiper College in Grand Rapids, Michigan, USA, and obtained Bachelor of Religious Education. He obtained his Master of Theological Studies at Calvin Seminary, Grand Rapids, Michigan, USA, and his PhD at Baylor University, Waco, Texas, USA. The aforementioned reviewed Reverend Professor Bachirin as a true academic with impressive credentials and corporate experience. He has an impressive teaching and research experience with various appointments in both private and public higher institutions of learning, including the Reformed Theological Seminary in Mkar, where he taught for many years, and Nasarawa State University, Kefi, where he served in many capacities as the head of the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies, member of several university committees, quality assurance, research, and publication. This fluent and vibrant professor of church history has contributed many thoroughly researched scholarly publications in reputable journals, both within and outside Nigeria. He has attended and presented scholarly papers in both national and international conferences. He has written 3 books and edited 1 with 3 chapters, which are a brief survey of the religious and political history of the Reformation, theology in the Nigerian context, and many others. Practical Guide to Research, a simplified version. The land shall yield its fruit, a primordial history of NKST. Reverend Professor A.T. Bachirin is happily married with children. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as he has already ushered himself to the podium.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I want to begin by giving my appreciation to the management of the university for giving me this honor to speak on the second matriculation ceremony. My telephone had problem, so I had no access to Facebook or WhatsApp or anything. So I never saw all the things that were posted concerning this matriculation lecture. My son saw it somewhere and was calling me and telling me my picture is somewhere. I never knew that it was this great occasion. It was when I was coming in and I saw my picture and poster on the road, and I was really surprised. But I am very grateful and thankful for this opportunity. As you will observe, I have all attended faith-based institutions in my life. I went to NKST Secondary School. I went to a seminary. After that, I went to Kuiper College for my undergraduate. And I went to Calvin University and Seminary for my master's. And I attended Baylor University in Waco, Texas. Baylor University is a Baptist university. It was founded by the Baptist Church. Even though it's no longer directly owned by the Baptists, it has the foundation and is one of the biggest Baptist universities in the whole world. It has campuses in US, and in Europe. So when talking about faith-based universities, I have direct experience of what it means and what it can contribute to education. What I want to say in this lecture is partly to give you a background of what this faith-based educational system has done and mean to the church, and partly what it is supposed to do. I have found out that faith-based university gives the responsibility of modeling students to teachers and to the administrations. For my lecture, let me begin with this well-known fact that the first universities in the world were faith-based. I'm referring to Bologna University in Italy, Padua, Oxford, and a host of others. Let me also say that universities that rank higher in the world today are more faith-based. They were started as seminaries to train pastors and young men to entrench Christian values in the society. Here we are referring to Yale University, was started as a seminary and pastoral school. Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, Boston, Princeton, Notre Dame, and a host of others. And many of these universities, like the St. Andrews University, which is the oldest university in Scotland, was established for the study of theology. The University of Edinburgh was established by the Presbyterian Church to train young men to cope with the changing world and influence the changing world. One author says that any university that is more than 300 years was a faith-based university. Joy Carpenter writes that more than 1,000 of new African universities have seminary or Bible college as their own ancestry. What makes these universities better? Today, Yale, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, Princeton, is because of their Christian foundation. It's because they were built on Christian values. Let me also say that the church has never been without some form of education, and that the church has always placed high premium on education. Probably this emanating from the Great Commission that Christ commanded his disciples to teach or to observe what he has commanded. Christian teaching is capable of changing the world, or built on the fact that Christians are the light of the world, or is coming from the teaching of the church fathers, especially the apologists, that educated people can produce a better society, can produce an enlightened and informed and civil society. In the early centuries of the church established catechetical schools at Antioch, Alexandria, and Rome, where intellectual and moral education was given to young men to integrate them into the Hellenistic society. The catechetical schools were well organized and all subjects were taught here from a faith-based perspective. The aim was to build a good and conscious society. In the Middle Ages, education was only faith-based. The church established universities and schools, decided who should teach and what should be taught. The medieval church fought to control education because they believed that you can control a people through education. You can build the kind of society you want through education. Education has the ability to influence and change society. The kind of society that existed in the Middle Ages was a result of the educational system of the church at that time. The church introduced the Book of Index. The Book of Index has to do with what you have to read and what you should not read. They also had a book known as the Book of the Four Sentences, written by one Peter Lombard. And this book was the only textbook used in the universities at that time. For over 100 years, it was only the Book of the Four Sentences that was used for all degrees. The book was a collection of the church councils, what the bishops and the pope said about theological and life issues. The church never permitted freedom of education, either for schools or for individuals. That is why in the Middle Ages, if one taught anything contrary to what the church believed and thought, it was subject to persecution. That is why Galileo, remember, was killed, and many others who brought new views were subject to persecution. The church had hostile laws on this. The Inquisition fought the Dominican and the Jesuit orders were to help the church check any contrary view or fallout. The development of modern universities is traceable to the monastic and cathedral schools which operated in the monasteries, where monks and nuns were trained for the public good. They were trained to practically address the needs of the society. The motto of the monasteries, be it Augustinian or Benedict, was service and sacrifice. They were involved in agriculture, not to feed themselves, but to feed the poor and to introduce new farming techniques to the society. They made clothes and other furniture, works of art, not for them, but for those who needed them. The monastic and cathedral schools also taught arithmetic, geometry, grammar, rhetoric, logic, music, and philosophy. Every subject was to help solve a particular problem in the society. In this way, they were able to influence and change the medieval society. The assignment before the students was how they can use their knowledge of geometry, for example, to solve the problem of the world. If you cannot use your knowledge of chemistry accounting, biology, to solve a society problem, you have failed. That was the nature of faith-based education. Teaching people to use what they have studied to solve society problem. The Nigerian experience on faith-based education is not different. Missionaries came with schools. They established the first schools in Nigeria. They were far ahead of the government. It was in 1843 that the missionary established St. Thomas Primary School in Badagry. It was 12 years after that the government established a school. Missionaries run the schools effectively, and their aim was to train people to assist them in office jobs, as well as to be leaders in various sectors of life. For these reasons, they gave the students not just quality education, but trained them to be honest, dedicated, accountable, law-abiding, and it was education that was service-oriented. Faith-based education is primarily about service to God and to humanity. Their products were role models in the society and practicalized what they learned. Mission schools were models. They set a standard for even government schools. At the beginning, government schools were not different from faith-based schools, and their products were not different either. In a way, the church also controlled education initially in Nigeria, and education in Nigeria initially was faith-based. It was because of the discipline, the dedication, the hard work, the commitment, and supervision system that Muslims invited missionaries to come to the area and establish schools, or sent their children to missionary schools. The fall of education in Nigeria can be attributed to the takeover of schools by the government. Laxity, negligence, and lack of supervision, and lack of focus set in immediately the government took over. The idea to establish private schools came because of the failure of the government to manage schools. Arguably, private primary schools and secondary schools are doing better than the government wants. Remember that Nigeria was not able to manage telecommunication industries. That was NITEL. But private companies such as MTN, Airtel, Glo, and the rest of them are doing well on the same soil, using the same Nigerians. The government was not able to manage Benue Cement, for example, but Dangote is doing well. The same materials. Turn the petroleum industry in the hands of Nigerians or the church, and you will have abundant fuel in Nigeria. I have to buy fuel today, 360 naira per liter. Boyce argues that privatization is a better tool for industrialized, developing, and transitional economies like Nigeria, and better for national development. And faith-based universities are part of the privatization and should take advantage of that. The Nigerian government has also shown its incapacity to manage the university education that can lead to national development and hence the need for churches to take over and steer into the system. This is the drive to establish faith-based universities. The need is not just to complement government effort, but to make significant impact in the educational sector as well as the society. The Minister of Education said that the need of establishing faith-based education and private universities was to complement. Faith-based is not just to complement, it's more than that. It's to reinstate the Christian principles of education. We must remember that the role of education generally in Nigeria is to provide high manpower for the development of the nation, be it social, political, or economical. In the light of this, appropriate, supportive public policy should be entrenched in the educational system. And the educational system must undergo a considerable and diverse amount of growth and change, which will, in no small way, lead to a competent and competitive environment between the public universities and the private universities, which the country is the sole beneficiary. The national policy on education highlighted the aim of university education, that one is to contribute to national development through high-level relevant manpower training, to develop and inculcate proper values for the survival of the individual and the society, to develop intellectual capacity of the individual to understand and appreciate their local and external environment, to acquire both physical and intellectual skills which will enable individuals to be self-sufficient and useful members of the society, to promote and manage scholarship and community service. Number 6, to cement national unity and promote national and international understanding and interactions. The belief in the efficacy of education as a powerful instrument of development has led many nations to commit great amount of worth to the establishment of educational institutions at various levels. According to Ajayi, the funds allocated to higher education should not be considered a mere expense, but a long-term investment. This is both for individuals and for nations. The implication is that we should not be crying of higher tuition in faith-based universities, but embrace faith-based universities as a way out, as the best option for better education in Nigeria. What is lacking in this that the government has provided is that there is nothing said about the training of the mind of a person or the training of the body and the spirit, but things that are quite abstract. The Nigerian university education has itself collapsed. Our private universities are greeted with problems that have gone deep into the system and seems to have no solution. We are referring to the moral decadence among students and staff, the insistence strike, student unrest, cultism, unstable government policies, inadequate funding, over-admission compared to the facilities available, lack of training of the mind and the soul, and lack of discipline. All these lead to insecurity and lack of peace in our public universities. Peace is not just the absence of war, but the presence of love, sharing of values through the application of technology, developing communities through relationship, respect for cultural pluralism, developing economy and intellectual interdependence, openness to new thinking and new ideas, transformational change through learning and performance, supporting each other through taking the risk in the application of knowledge, providing and shaping the world through what we gain and study in school. That is what stability and peace means. Let me quickly look at the meaning of the word faith as we're talking about faith-based institutions. Faith, as we know, is about trust, is about belief. But more importantly, it is expressed and demonstrated in what we know. It is practical. It is seen and felt. In this sense, Christian faith is transformational. It impacts, is seen and felt, like the Apostle Peter emphasized. Faith has to do with devotion to something, holding certain values at the center of one's life. It is about loyalty, and it is built on knowledge, facts, wisdom, and understanding of God's works. Faith is relational. It is about service and sacrifice. It is impactful. The journey of faith-based universities began in 1999 with the establishment of Backup University by the Seventh-day Adventist and Madonna of the Catholic University. Bowen was established in 2001, while Cabernet and Benson Idahosa in 2002. Our own university, University of Mkar, was established in 2005 with a host of others. Faith-based universities have indeed experienced rapid growth in Nigeria. With this short history, there are more than today, as I learned, more than 50 faith-based universities, and there are a lot of applications on the table of the NUC to approve more. What is the contribution of the faith-based university? It is to bring the gap and fill the gap of what is not found in public universities. The problem of Nigeria is a human problem. It cannot be solved with money, nor through technology, nor through learning of any kind, nor through regulation, nor politics, but through a responsible education offered by faith-based universities that prepare people who are ready to serve who love their neighbors, who are patriotic, whose hearts and spirits are renewed. Gandhi argued that the renewal of the human spirit or spiritual transformation is directly related to addressing society issues. If faith-based is able to renew, bring a new orientation in the education, then it has made it. There's concentration. It should be on the development of the human mind, the development of the human personality and human capacity. There is a void in the public university education that needs to be filled by the faith-based university and addressed. Basically, that of integrating learning with action. The vision and mission of many faith-based universities emphasize the things like Protestant ethics of hard work, justice, truth, knowledge, discipline, societal integration, academic excellency, and the likes. Faith-based education has come to restore the goals of the university and to bring university education to each original state. It has brought hope to the Nigerian education, hope of community service, hope of unity, hope of human dignity, hope of building responsible citizens for national development, hope of future leadership, and hope of quality education. As new as faith-based universities are, they have today ranked higher than other public universities in the country. This is the hope. Many of the faith-based universities have better facilities than the public universities. Faith-based universities are established not just to uphold higher academic and quality education, but to inculcate moral values, build characters, and instill discipline in both the staff and the students. The end result is to produce students who are ready to serve, who are ready to comply with laws and order of the nation, and ready to seek and pursue excellency. Faith-based universities give a student a biblical worldview that is about welcoming, nurturing compassion, selflessness, acceptance, and love for mankind. It teaches the value of commitment, of dedication, of hard work, of discipline, of self-control, thereby leading the student to professional and professional success. Many years ago, mediocre scholars such as Thomas Aquinas and Amson said Christian education was about faith seeking understanding. Faith seeking understanding. That we investigate the faith we have. That we build our understanding and knowledge of the faith we have. We seek to understand what we know, what we see, what we touch in this world in which we live. Christian education is therefore a critical analysis, thoughtful reflection, and questioning the knowledge, questioning how the knowledge we have in the classroom is relevant to the world out there. Christian education and must transform lives and the society according to mediocre scholars. Faith-based universities are built on Christian values, and can be seen in the mission and vision of many of the universities as we saw above. We can learn much from the ethnic school. In the Garden of Eden, God taught the man and the woman who were there. In Eden, the first school was established in human history. It was practical, it was result-oriented. God created a good and conducive environment for the Edenic school. This must be the tradition that we follow in the faith-based school. The faith-based school teaches that the university starts and hinges on the teacher. The teacher is the pilot. The teacher is the hinge on which the whole system revolves and rotates. The teacher must be the role model, promoter of the mission and vision of the university. The faculty, student, and administration must work together on the same vision to promote public good. Work to come up with policies and standard practices that are geared towards helping the community and reviving education. Faith-based universities contribute to the rebirth of education because of their emphasis on service and sacrifice. Service and sacrifice represent the nature of the church. Murphy once said, "The church is the only institution on the face of the earth that does not exist for itself." That at the bottom of the church life and service is to exist for others. So all the institutions of the church must seek to exist for others and the whole world. Christians must seek to exist for the community, for their neighbors, for the people that are around them. Such only leads to community engagement and development. The reformers saw education, especially faith-based education, as very important. And so they went ahead and established new universities, apart from the one that existed. John Calvin established the Geneva Academy. And Calvin told young people to work, a work ethics that transformed the Geneva society. Max Weber writes on the economic effect of Calvinistic ideologies. Faith-based education is about thinking and acting in a problem world, tackling issues of national importance. Bonziger writes that the aim of university is to foster a mature commitment to dignity of the human person, social justice, diversity, intellectual competence, global engagement, solidarity with the poor and the vulnerable, and care for the less privileged on the planet together. Geneva was a glorious society. It was difficult to live in, but through education, John Calvin was able to transform it. Calvinistics was guided by the philosophy of cultural mandate. It taught that God has given us the responsibility to redeem the whole creation. Faith-based education is best and most Through it, faith is integrated into every aspect of life. To the reformers, Christians must redeem science, must redeem technology, must redeem mathematics, computer science, accounting, and make them relevant to their personal lives and to the nation as a whole. This was what the followers of John Calvin, like Abraham Kuyper, who demonstrated that he can use his own faith in every aspect of life. Abraham Kuyper, as a very strong Calvinist, was a politician. He became the Prime Minister of the Netherlands. He was a writer. He founded many newspapers through which he was able to make impact of his policies and Christian principles spread through the Netherlands. He was a teacher and established his own university that still exists, the Free University of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. He demonstrated that faith can be used in every aspect of life. Plantinga, the great philosopher, one gave a lecture, and the title of the lecture was The Reasonableness of Faith. And in that lecture, Plantinga wrote down all what faith can achieve if used properly. Building on this, faith-based universities must work on the conscience of the student. The problem of Nigeria is not that we have, the problem of Nigeria is that we are a people without a conscience. Conscience comes from a Latin word which means to know together, knowledge shared with others and for others. It is a moral awareness. It urges one to recognize what is right and to restrain one from what is wrong. For Immanuel Kant, conscience is the court within a man. It's the judge that sits in our hearts and tells us what is good. An engineer from a faith-based university must be concerned with the effect of his work on the society. This building, will it stand, or will it one day collapse and kill people? An accountant must be concerned with the consequences of his own action on the nation and the people around him. This is what we are supposed to be. We can go down and mention the loose attitude that are a result of lack of conscience and patriotism and are not Christian based. In our universities, in our public universities, discipline is not there. Commitment is not there. Supervision is not there. And worst of all, students do what they want. They have become breeding places of irresponsible citizens. Students dress anyhow and do not know that dressing is part of one's identity. It shows what you are about doing. And it shows whether you are responsible or not. It shows whether you are hard or not. In public universities, students drink openly. In classes, I have seen students come with Indian hemp, come with a rubber solution. They are drinking while you are teaching. I teach in a university where there are many Muslims. And the students, the Muslim students especially, when they are coming to school, they wear their hijab and put their jeans in their school bag. When they come to school, they go to the bathroom or the toilet and they change, put on their jeans. After school, they go to the town or do whatever they want. And when they want to go back home, they come back to the room and change and put on the hijab again and go to their parents. The school know that they are Muslims. Their teachers know that they are Muslims. And sometimes the teachers who are Muslims are the ones that encourage them to do so. In the Bible schools in the history of the church were set up to combat growing false teachers and teaching, and growing abstract and irrelevant philosophies. Faith-based universities must identify destructive teachings, destructive behaviors, negative teachings, and fight them. We have a big responsibility to be at a faith-based university. We must lead students to see the negative consequences of their own behaviors. We must lead students to help their peers to see the negative consequences of their good behaviors. On the other hand, we must promote what is good and valuable. In a situation that we find ourselves as a faith-based university, we know that we are taking God's assignment to develop people, to help people, to build a society, and more importantly, to contribute to our own education, knowing how important education is. And I think the problem that we have today, unlike the medieval society, we do not know the importance of education. And that is also the failure of our government, that we do not know the importance of education, how education can change the society, how education can change the individual. I think we own another responsibility to educate our people, to educate even our church or churches that establish faith-based university on the importance of education. The medieval church, even though sometimes what they did led to negative consequences, we should take a cue from them of emphasizing the importance of education. We need to develop and inculcate proper values for the survival of the individual, the society, and educational system. Develop intellectual capacities of individuals in understanding and appreciating their local and external environment. Acquire both physical and intellectual skills that will enable individuals to be self-reliant, useful members of the society. promote and encourage scholarship and community service, and cement national unity, promote national and international understanding of education. People who are shaped by Christian principles are people who are willing to stand for what is noble and right. Faith-based universities train such people. By coming to faith-based university like University of Mkar, you have the responsibility and have to put this at the back of your mind that the training you are receiving here is to help you to stand firm in a Nigerian society that is corrupt, a Nigerian society that has no focus, a Nigerian society that capitalizes and uses every opportunity to oppress others. We were just talking about the POS and getting money. That every small opportunity, we use it to oppress other people. You go to a POS and you want to go to withdraw 10,000 naira, which used to cost 1,000. Today, you will either have to pay 1,000 or more. People go to the banks, get the money, the new naira notes, and come out to sell it. We use every opportunity to oppress other people. Faith-based university is about using every opportunity to promote integrity, to promote honesty, to promote help for others. We must engage the young men in our universities to become people of wisdom, to shape and change their communities, to train people who can lead with integrity. I see better prospects for faith-based universities in Nigeria. Today, people are crying that faith-based institutions are expensive. But remember, the federal government has proposed tuition fees for universities that is even higher than faith-based universities. What I saw was that the least course in the university will be 350,000. The minister explained that they are going to set up banks that will give students loans, that every student will be able to collect 1 million naira a year to pay tuition. And after that, after his school or her school, she or he will pay back. Without jobs, how can you pay back the loan you have collected? Many of our graduates are out there for more than 10 years without a job. It means your loan will be accumulating. And probably by the time you get a job, or if you never get a job, probably they will enslave you because you are owning the government so much. So faith-based will stand a better chance. They have good chances to prosper. And so those of us working at faith-based university should be encouraged that we are doing something good. The present faith-based universities are demonstrating that they can do it better in many areas, and they are ranking higher academically than even older universities. You see the ranking that was done in Nigeria recently. Most of the faith-based universities came top. Only University of Ibadan came higher than most faith-based universities. But if you take area by area, If you take medicine, for example, Bingham University is better than most universities in medicine. If you take law, if you go down south, Covenant, Loyola, the one by Redeem, they are doing far better in different areas than most established universities. So there is hope. And very soon, what I see is that faith-based universities will become models of all the universities in Nigeria. That all the other universities will look on to faith-based universities. The dressing code. Most universities are now looking onto faith-based universities about the dressing code. When we were in school, after secondary school, we never wanted to do anything with uniform. Because with faith, we were beyond that. Because of the emphasis of faith-based universities on dress code, most universities are encouraging their students to have particular uniforms where they can control. If you go to the Department of Accounting, Department of Mass Communication, and all of this, they have uniforms. And the implication of that uniform is to control the dressing of the students. Because as you wear the uniform, it must be uniform. It must be like the other one. What I want to say in the end is that faith-based universities are God's assignment. And as Christians, we should know that what we are doing, as the Bible says, is God's work. And God's work, we must do it faithfully, because there is a reward attached to it. Both teachers and students, there is a reward attached to what we are doing. I was at an interview where students, graduates from different universities were interviewed. And one of the interviewers said that he would better employ people who are from faith-based and have third-class degrees than those who are from public universities and have first-class degree. Because at that interview, one of the students, of the applicants, from one of the older universities, was not able to express himself. But the one who came from faith-based was able to express himself. And we found out that the reason why the other student was able to express himself is the opportunities offered by the faith-based universities. You come to chapel, you are asked to lead other people, you have the opportunity to speak to others, to address others. You have the opportunity to stand before other students. And because of the small nature of our faith-based universities, you have relationships, and you can talk to people, you can know people, even people's problem. When I was doing my sabbatical in BSU, I was asked to go and invigilate exams of mass comm students. 300 level, I think so. And when I went there, the students were more than 700 for one class. How can they interact? And how can even the teacher mark? And how can he be sincere and honest in his own work? All that was given was multiple choice so that he can mark. At 300 level, the students are still writing objective questions. Because sincerely, no teacher can mark 700 students if he he really gives them an assignment. It will take you probably 1 year to do that. You have better opportunities at faith-based universities to not just educate yourself and change yourself and make yourself better than those in the public universities. To conclude, I want to say that faith-based education is stable. It's the stable education in Nigeria. You know that you come to school, you know when you are going to graduate. The strikes in the universities will never end. In fact, that's why it's only waiting for Gige to go. When Gige goes, we start again. Because our problems are not addressed. But here, the stability of the calendar of what you are going to get is very obvious. The security that you have, security of your own education, the security of what you paid for and how you are going to get it. Here, you have the opportunity to go to class. The teachers are monitoring you. You are so small. I was just sharing with your VC that in one of my 400 level classes, I never saw the students until when I was going to give continuous assessment. I never knew that I had more than 30 students in the class. But during the continuous assessment, I had over 70. And that's the last time I saw them. And they never came back until the exam. And they told me that at this level, they don't have time for studies. That is what is happening. That at 400 level, they have so many things to do. And teachers should not worry them. If you fail them, in my university, the emir of Kefi or the emir of Lafia will call you. It's the emir. He will call you and ask you, what happened? Don't you know that this is from the emir parish? Universities are controlled by people from outside. Not even, but here, you control the education. The security is granted. And here, it is important to know that you are studying under good people, under people who care, under people, the discipline they give you is to show that they care. So I urge you, both students and staff, that what you are doing is important. Do not give up. No matter the hardship, do not give up. God will reward you in the end. Thank you all.
The Vice Chancellor, the guest lecturer, ladies and gentlemen. In my opening remarks, I told you that we have before us an academics and a reverend person, preacher. And I think he has accomplished these two tasks. He started by telling us his rich Christian background, which are all related to faith-based, right from secondary school to the university level. And the process of his lecture, I remember when I enrolled into the university in 1978, I wanted to write everything the lecturer said, and that is where I developed my pattern writing. So I wanted to try it today and I failed. I started to take down notes and so on. When I failed, I realized he will give me a copy. So I think that is what he's going to do to all of you, particularly the students who were being tutored on why they are here and then why they shouldn't even regret coming here. I think that has been central in his lecture. I was pleased to hear him trace the history of university education to Christianity, to religion, faith-based. The all major universities in the world were traced to religious institutions. And I think in Nigeria it happened, the same thing happened. All the schools, most of them were manned by Christian organizations until the universities were taken over by the government. Sorry, I have some health challenges, so let me sit down as I talk. I will not take your time. I'm not reviewing the paper. I just want to say a few things before I open the paper for discussion. So, to say the greatness of a university lies in religion, the Christian values, the religious values. Every religion has its own values. Only when they are abused that then they become a threat to society. And that Christians are the light of the world. If we are the light of the world, then this university should be the light to all other universities. And what we do here, other universities should emulate it. And there was times when I came here, students were thinking you have to wear uniforms or restricted, so many restrictions. And when I went back to Benue State University, students were dressing anyhow. Then later on, graduates, as you mentioned, we started to copy. Now the school's dressing code in nearly every university. In my present university, just as I went to University, you dress anyhow, security men are allowed to chase you out. They will chase you out. They will not beat you or anything, but they just chase you out. So it will not go to litigation. So he has gone ahead to tell us the relationship between church-based, faith-based universities, their contribution to university development in Nigeria. And he said they are not just assisting government, but they are playing a major role. And I think due to incident strikes in the Nigerian university system and unstable academic calendar and so on, private universities which are dominated more or less by church, the faith-based institutions have taken over. And I was pleased to see a large population when I was here on another day. I asked the HOD accounting, I told him that BC has attracted so many students, and I've been following up the activities of this university. But then there are three things which I just want to mention before with that. He has told that training is to help one solve the problem the Nigerians is facing. So the University of Mkar should play a prominent role in that direction. To mount courses, organize teaching, curriculum and so on, so that to address the problems we are facing in Nigeria. Most of them are on corruption, dishonesty, disloyalty, carelessness. But if you come from a Christian background, anything you want to do that is not correct, a bell will ring in your head. You don't need somebody to tell you. Sometimes we are conscious of that, but we put it. I will use that because other people are doing it. So you are told here now, from this background you are having here, it should be useful. And then secondly, that don't think the cost is high. He has told us clearly. He has told you an overview or a review of the cost of education in public universities. It excludes accommodation. Here you are accommodated. You don't do any other thing other than apart from buying your food. You don't have the risk of people stealing your goods or taking transport to the institution. And then that the lecturers, The message to you is that it said that you are doing God's what? Assignment. Sometimes it's difficult. We say the lecturer's reward is in heaven, but then we want to have a taste of it here. So sometimes we wonder, but then you should be conscious of that. I think the lecturers here have been very, very patient. I was part of the system, and I know what it is. So I think that's the key message. And what interested me most was that they said the first institute of learning was in the Garden of Eden. I didn't know. Unfortunately, Eve failed the exam. Is it Eve and Adam or only Eve? So that is where the first school started. So if you are not careful, if you don't get it right in school, you'll not get it right in life, and you'll not be useful to society. So I'll allow you now to either you comment or you ask questions. I think it's there to respond to all the issues you raised. It was a very educative lecture. Thank you. Okay, so are there questions? Any person who has a question? Yes, I'll test it.
Good afternoon. I would like to really appreciate the Vice Chancellor for bringing in Professor Dr. Reverend Professor Bachirin to us at this time. I appreciate you, the chairman, so much. Reverend Professor, I was listening to you, and I remember those days when you used to impact us at that level, but listening to you here was really interesting. You know, historically, you really gave us a lot of stuff, talking about the medieval church and its what it intended for the society to be at that level, which it actually achieved. And then I was looking at it, considering the church right now, in the 21st century, the focus of the church right now, that is mostly on promoting what I might call materialism and societal divide in so many aspects. Is it because the church has evolved over time and therefore has lost its focus on what its intention on the society is expected to be? I'm just thinking about it. And secondly, I was looking at the issue of faith-based. You say it offers the hope for the society. And looking at how our, Nigeria in particular is, full of corruption, deep-rooted corruption, insecurity, abject poverty and all of that. And you're training somebody within a faith-based institution and the person is going out to face this kind of thing. Actually, to what extent I'm thinking will that learning be translated within the society to change the society, the religious and tribal divides and all of that put together. And lastly, you advise that it is the faith base that should actually educate the church. I brought it home in that perspective. The University of Mkar here is expected to educate NKST on issues concerning faith-based. Just give us an idea. How will it approach it, and what will it be talking about? All of that. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, I think we will take all the questions and then he will respond at the end. Any other question or comments? Contribution? Yes.
Ladies and excited about the lecture. I won't spend much time mentioning those areas that captured my interest. There were so numerous. I am persuaded to agree with the timing of the lecture is quite good. But not just for the students that are coming in, but for the returning students and the lecturers. The issue of faith-based education and the purpose of faith-based education, which I wouldn't want to equate it with church education or church schools, faith-based schools and church schools. I wouldn't agree that they are the same because a faith-based school, according to our lecturer, guest lecturer, is the one that portrays biblical worldview, the perspective or the lens through which we operate is the Bible. And the Bible-based education, which is the core of the faith-based education, emphasizes truth. It emphasizes reality, what is true, what is real. It emphasizes value, what is valuable or good. The church, in most cases, are the ones that will establish faith-based, so-called faith-based schools. Individuals can do that too, but from the history we have received, most of them were established and are being established by church organizations. One of them that interests me that I've been studying recently is Harvard. Harvard, which was a faith-based institution. You cannot, at the moment we're talking, see any qualification for Harvard to be called a faith-based institution. I may be wrong. The guest lecturer is an expert, he's here. Harvard University. Everything abnormal you see. I can't figure out exactly, but perhaps they have allowed people with secular worldview to dominate both the management and the leadership of the school, and that become what it is. Anything odd is coming from Harvard University. Anything abnormal, you get it from Harvard University. Whereas they still maintain quality education, almost at the top there, with a few others. Everything else that is non-biblical is also coming from there. Could it be that the people graduated and the lecturers or the teachers there are dominantly of secular worldview now? That's number one. Number two, even our institution here, which is a faith-based institution, and a few others, Bowen and the others you have mentioned, within in the country here, offshore the country, the intention was that every student that comes in is regarded unique with the image of God and should be treated as such, so that they can eventually affect the society as intended. But is it true, as I can guess, that the church politics, including the NKST church politics, has drowned the Christian identity in their Christian school or other faith-based schools? The church is there with their politics. Now, what we intend to do here as a faith-based school will be overshadowed by the church politics. And the church politics seem to have lost focus of the Christian identity. Can you help us sort out some of these issues?
Thank you very much. Did he introduce himself? You know him? Okay. Please, whoever can introduce yourself first, so that others will know who is speaking.
I'm John Will.
Okay.
I help in the Department of Physical Sciences.
Okay, thank you. You spoke like I thought you were a reverend doctor, professor. Yes, another person.
My sincere apologies. First of all, I like giving apologies before I ask my questions. The presenter of this paper did a very nice work. I must applaud him for that, because I am also a beneficiary of a faith-based school, and I can also attest to the fact that their discipline is touchstone. But where I intend to have a little misunderstanding is the area where he spoke about the tuition, that we should not consider the tuition that we pay in faith-based universities as to what we are going to pay or what is being paid in the secular universities. This is a faith-based university, and to the best of my knowledge, the faith-based universities that I know, the faithful are at some point charged with the responsibility of making sacrifices for the training and the upkeep of these faith-based universities. And to be sincere, majority of the people who make these sacrifices are people in the interior villages of our country. And looking at the nature of our country, Nigeria, these people are actually striving to survive. And the people who make these sacrifices, 90% of their children do not attend these faith-based universities to get the morals and the good discipline that these universities tend to offer them because of the nature of the expensive tuition fees. My question would be that why will the faith-based universities prevent these other children from coming to attain or get this particular discipline on account of tuition fee? Thank you. My name is Mkar from Psychology Department.
If there are no other questions, yes, we can respond now.
Thank you for those questions. You see, if you look at the history of the medieval church, which I emphasize about education, the importance of education. There were people there who also lost focus of what they were doing. One of my professors, my second reader, Mkar, a Jew by birth and by religion, never believed there was a God or there is a God. He taught us, but he never believed that God exists. He has written so many books to that regard. The death of God in Auschwitz. And it's part of the death of God movement that was begun by John Heck. That many Jews thought that God has died when the Holocaust was going on. He wrote a book that, at least in Auschwitz, where there were concentration camps and others, God was not there. He had died. He could not turn his face to the outside. What I'm trying to say is that at every occasion and at everything we want to do, there are problems, both in the church and outside there. That our problem, especially in NKST and in the church in Nigeria, is not such of anything having to do with materialism, but it's a problem of leadership. We do not have focused, visionary leaders who will really lead us. It has also been said that when a church is more than 100 years or is 100 years old, it loses its own focus. So NKST is more than 100 years, so probably it has lost its own focus too. And leadership becomes a problem. What was important in the medieval church was not emphasis on different things, but the principles that had already been laid down. And I want to answer another question about Harvard University. Harvard University is operating on the principles of hard work that was already laid down when the university was established. That whatever you do it well. And even the bad thing, they do it well. The principle of hard work, you see, Harvard is Puritan in nature. It was established by the Puritan guys of the Presbyterian Church. And that is what is guiding Harvard. What is guiding Yale University and the rest of them, even in doing the bad thing, but still maintaining the standard, is because they have not left the principles on which they were established. Do it well. My second reader, as I was trying to say, is a Jew. And he said that there's nothing in Judaism, or there's nothing like God, but the principles of the Jewish faith or Judaism are good. And so, if you hang on to the principles and use the principles, you will achieve whatever you want. He celebrated the Passover. He took me to the Passover feast. Because he was my very good friend. And I asked him, why are you doing all these things? He said there is something good in them. That the principles guiding them are good. And I hear in all areas of life. The Jewish life is that if you wake up, you have to give seven offerings. You give offering for education, for church involvement, for the orphanages and all of that. Every day he gave all these seven offerings. He said, look at the principles. The principles of Judaism are that these things will help other people. And so he was doing it for others. And he heard to the principal. So I'm saying Harvard University, Yale universities, I know what they're doing and what they do today. But what is still guiding them to maintain their standard is the principles on which they were established. Principles of hard work, communistic principles that the Puritan had at that time. The Nigerian insecurity system is working on us. We know that. But we can make change in this. Because most of the time, it's our people that are involved. I was coming back from Kefi on last week, Friday. Before I got to a camp, that IDP camp, there were many people on the road. This time if I'm traveling and looking ahead, if I see that, I try to slow down. And I discovered that the Fulanis came and attacked the people, killed 14 people, and they were doing mass burial. So when the people went after them, the Fulanis, they killed 250 people who were from that very village, who had also gone out and told the Fulanis who went to attack them before the New Year. So you see, the insecurity is not just coming from there, it is coming from us too. It's part of us, it is our midst. And if we can help solve it here within us, we can also help coming from outside. How can we educate the church? It's a big question. John Calvin, for example, who is one of my best studies, was not a member of the Genevian Parliament. He was not elected to any position. He was not even in the Church Council of Geneva. What he did was to always write to the church or outside the church on what he saw that was wrong. Erasmus, who changed the world around him and also at his own time and began the Reformation movement, one of the forerunners of the Reformation movement, never told the church that the church, this is what you are doing that is wrong. He will take a case, put it in fiction form, and write about names that are not identifiable, and say what the church is saying and is doing, the wrong thing the church is doing, in a way that it will not offend the church. And through that, Erasmus was able to change the church leadership around him. When they read, at least their conscience told them that this must be me. But you couldn't vote him because he was not mentioning his name. He was mentioning other people's names. And we can do the same. So we can educate our church by starting from where we have classes and opportunities. We can make use of every opportunity. We can go to our pastors, we can go to our elders, and present what we have to them. You see, our system is that it's a gender from the church to the classes to the Senate. And what we have, we can pass it on to our pastors to make it a classes agenda or to make it a synodical agenda. And that may become something that will change our way. What about these things we are doing? Can we change the church politics? Yes, we can do. Through what I'm trying to say. Let me come to the intuition that is a big problem. to many people. The Deputy Vice Chancellor of Bingham University is a very close friend of mine. We meet almost every evening and talk about issues. And so I know how Bingham is run. The Equa Church gives Bingham University almost 3 billion naira every year to run the institution. It is now that they are getting so much money from the medical school that the amount is reducing. And Equa Church is not different from NTST. You see, what Equa has told their own people that we have not told our people is that church is sacrifice. Christianity is sacrifice. And as I said, for the mediocre people and for Murphy who said that Christianity and the church are the only religion who do not exist for themselves. If you know that your duty is to sacrifice, if you know that you do not exist for yourself or for the benefit of your children, but what you exist for is for service, is to help others, then you will have no problem with what is happening. Even if your children do not eat and other people eat, you will feel fine. You see, the problem we have in Tigran is we're not being told to sacrifice. When the missionary came, they did not have problem with money. And they didn't tell our teachers us to offer as much as we should. I remember when we students at the RTS, we were being paid as students because everything was provided by the missionaries. The bulbs, the light bulbs were provided by the missionaries, toilet tissue, the neighbors, everything related. So the money the church collected was used for our students. In fact, we didn't even have Nigerians as our own teachers. Our teachers were missionaries, and so their salaries were not coming here. And they didn't think much about educating us on sacrificial offering. We have to know that our call is to sacrifice. Every Christian, and we are to serve God. We are not preventing people to come. You use the word that the tuition is preventing people to come. No. You see, one of the things that when I interact with people on the issue of tuition, that I found it quite interesting, is that they do not want to send their children here because of the high tuition. But they send their children to secondary schools that are higher than this university. My son is going to Command Secondary School, Mkar, and their tuition every term is 140,000. So you put it 3 terms, that is how much? You put more than 200,000. The same person who has a son there said that Mkar University was too expensive. And I said, because they told you to pay the amount one time, so they should have told you that every semester is 150,000, so you will pay, because Mama told you that every term is 140,000 you are paying. Here is less than that amount, and you say it's too much for you. By 300,000, 40,000, you're getting 400,000 a year. And so we do not just plan well. If we plan well, we can make it. The issue of T people being poor give you an example. Udam, people come and farm for us. We pay them money. Go to hospital and go to the person who came last year to farm for you. You paid him the money. He's not living in the thatched house. You are living in the thatched house. What is the meaning of that? The national people here who come to farm for us here, they take money from us, go and have zinc houses. We live in thatched houses. We do not just know how to plan. That is the problem with our people. We do not know how to plan. If we plan well, many of us can afford the tuition fees that is at this university. Check through the universities, the faith-based universities, and you see that ours is the cheapest. It's the cheapest of all. I think the one that comes close is Benson in Dagosa, that is next to us. All the others, Bilan, there is no cost. Medicine and Bilan is 2.5 million. Law is 1.5. And they have students that they cannot do. And 50% of the students they are T people. So this is the problem we have. The problem is that we are not planning well, and the problem is that we do not encourage our people to look for ways, innovative ways that they can accommodate what we have. I think principles are very important. And the principle must be our foundation. Thank you.
Once again, I appreciate this. Those of you who ask questions or make contributions, he has given us a greater insight into what is happening. We complain a lot, so it's telling all of us that we can influence the leadership of NKST. They should serve. We should be served and not to be served. I think that's the central message. That's the main problem facing the NKST. People who should serve, we are rather serving them. And because of that, money is not flowing freely. And the educated ones, people who should give, are skeptical about how their money will be applied. So thank you. For in case of the issue of school fees, he has already finished it. You will not pay so much as you think you are here. And for public university, even the issue of delay in graduation is another cost. People for four-year program, they spend 5 years. So that 1 year extra cost. If you add it, it will come up to that. And then the facilities available, we don't have them in public university because the government is no longer sending the money. And even when they come, they are misapplied. The people follow the money from Abuja, they come and take it away. Yes. So the situation there is very bad. Some of you just take a word, when you come to our university, you go to a classroom, you won't even find seats. The balls are removed, or even when you put them, the foreign they will remove. The security man will be the one even to assist the person climb and remove them. So you are very safe here and very comfortable. You should thank God for that always. Thank you.
We really appreciate our guest lecturer and chairman, second human population lecture. Before we present a plate of honor to our guest lecturer, I would like to quickly switch to the decoration of a very distinguished content creator as ambassador of the University of Mkar. Our ambassador designate is Shamangi Karen Hapo Njela. She is better known as Karen Martins. She is well known for her malt and biscuit, Kayucha Njela. But before we invite her to step forward, we shall play one of the content she has created to enhance the visibility of the University of Mkar on social media.
studies as well as learn to love learning. Passionate about academic excellence, character development, and value education. A private faith-based university, modern lives and breathing essence of change. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this flagship institution in Nigeria called the University of Mkar. My name is Karen Alice and I'll be your tour guide into the citadel of learning with character, discipline, and focus. The University of Mkar is a unique institution serene and conducive for learning and research. It has quality and committed staff working around the clock to guide and challenge the students to excel. University of Mkar is the three-sister institution and the first private university in Benue State. The university's hillside location provides a beautiful, serene rural setting for learning and research, comparatively, if not better than many headline universities in Nigeria. The University of Mkar has one of the most cost-effective learning environment opportunities in Nigeria today, with a friendly school fee structure and research studies. The University of Mkar is about the most student-centered and gender-friendly university with an excellent student-teacher ratio. As a faith-based institution, chaplaincy, which is a major field of the Church of Christ, plays a central role in campus life. Academics, religion, and faith are closely interwoven through the multiple aspects of life at the University of Mkar. At the University of Mkar, the students are guaranteed an uninterrupted academic pursuit as the frequent, infamous, and unfortunate industrial disputes that are regular features of Nigerian public universities, mostly and generally. Social life on the University of Mkar campus is as secure, friendly, and comforting as any ideal home. To further promote academic excellence, the university has a variety of innovative academic support programs, notably upgraded ICT facility of 150 megabytes per second, powered optical network, and providing high-grade and business internet all over the campus. The University of Mkar FM Radio, which is duly licensed by the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission for academic support and public services. Library is a high-mark achievement of the institution. It is the academic resource center providing inclusive environment for learning, collaboration, and knowledge creation. The University of Mkar is highly gender sensitive and provides for gender sensitive learning environment, as well as concerns for persons with specific challenges. Why you should not study at the University of Mkar? One of the most important factors to consider when deciding on the choice of the university are its academic programs and reputation. Therefore, when it comes to making a choice between the public and private universities on one hand, and among the private or faith-based universities on the other hand, and if one is hoping to get a good learning environment and experiences, then the University of Mkar is your most preferred destination. Many thanks for your time, and I really hope that you do enjoy the tour. Remember, you're welcome to join us at the University of Mkar anytime.
You can watch the video on somebody saying packaging. You can watch the video via the university YouTube channel, or you can visit the university website and you can watch and download. Ladies and gentlemen, may I most respectfully invite our ambassador designate, Shamangi Karen Hapu Uyela. Please step forward as I hand over the microphone to the Vice Chancellor for the proper ceremony.
Thank you. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Chairman, dear Speaker, she is one of the several people we are calling ambassadors of the university. And the idea is very simple. We're trying to do some crowdfunding for the university. And the ambassadors are supposed to be the face of the university, interfacing with other people to give us money to run this university. Our target for now is to identify 500,000 people, each of whom will give us just 1,000 naira. That will come to about 500 million naira. And we are hoping that these ambassadors will help us get people out to 500,000 who will be committed to this university, either for once or over a lifetime. So, Your Excellency, today we will give you a charge to help us, and it is our hope and belief that at the end of this year, these ambassadors will stretch themselves and give us that size of money so that we'll be able to finish the money we owe to people. But our target is end of this year. So without wasting much time, we will go on with our little ceremony. We have your letters of credence. For the benefit of everybody, I will read your letters of credence. All and singular to whom these letters shall come. Greetings. Being desirous of making provision for the representation in the entertainment industry of the interests of the University of Mkar and for the maintenance of relations that can be of mutual benefit between the University of Mkar and the entertainment industry, we have chosen you, Shamangi Karen Hapu Uyela, in the capacity of ambassador of the University of Mkar. Your personal qualities, experience, talents, and zeal for the growth of the University of Mkar assure us that your choice will be acceptable to practitioners in the entertainment industry, and that you will discharge your duties in such a manner as to merit our esteem and to prove yourself worthy of this recognition. We therefore request that you work closely with our nominee who shall communicate to you in our name, especially when she shall convey to you the urgent need to mobilize support for the University of Mkar in prayers and resources amongst practitioners in the entertainment industry to ensure the growth and prosperity of the university, given at the University of Mkar this second day of February 2022.
Thank you, the Vice Chancellor, invited guests and distinguished professors, and of course my amazing change makers. It's a pleasure to stand here today, and to say I'm honored is an understatement. My name is Karen Haponguyila Shamangi, but you all know me as Karen Martins of Karen Martins TV, Kani Chanimiega aka Namwa Morton B. And you all will be giving me one more to be. I want to say it is a great honor receiving this from the university today, and I'll work diligently with the university and all of you change makers today. Before I retire to my seat, I want to ask you a question. How are you making use of the internet? Are you the type that just go to social media, you watch pictures, you upload pictures, while people make money off you? If that is it, then you need to have a different perspective today, because there is money on social media. There are lots of opportunities for young people like you and I. Go to Google, type tech skills, and you will see them. Content creation, content development, graphic designs. People are making money off this. And then you don't need to finish the university. Are you asking yourself, what is life after school? There is no job waiting for you. You need to start something for yourself. You don't need to be great to start. You need to start to be great. I started shooting my content with my phone, and brands call me every now and then, create content for us, and I'm making a lot of money. When I finished school, everyone believed that, oh, she was going to look for a job, she was going to know. There is no job that you pay me that is worth what I am making from the internet. I don't need to run up and down. I've already built something for myself. So you can follow me up, Karen Martins TV, and I'm ready to work with as many of you that are willing. And I'm hoping that by the end, I will have at least 100 students earning from social media. Thank you so much.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Yes, members of staff are saying that the confidence is there. Her Excellency Ambassador Shamangi Karen Hapok Yela, as from today your Facebook profile will change. You edit and include Ambassador of the University of Mkar. You can even brand your plate number as Ambassador of the University of Mkar. It's approved. It's okay, I would like to invite Mr. John Will to present a plate of honor to our guest lecturer. Mr. Will, sir. I'm sorry, apologies. His Excellency Ambassador John Will.
The Vice Chancellor, the Chairman, it's a great honor to be called upon to present this symbol of honor to our distinguished lecturer, Professor A.T. Machirin. Professor Machirin, not many people would properly state your worth. Not just from what you have spoken here, but we want to say that we thank you, we appreciate your coming, we value your worth. You are doing tremendously well for the church and for the society in general. Not just within Nigeria, but outside the shores of the country. We covet your relationship with us, continual relationship for that matter. Our prayer and request that the Vice Chancellor will consider you as a distinguished ambassador. We play that good role. So on behalf of the Vice Chancellor of the University as a whole, we present this to you in appreciation for what you have done for us today and what you have done in the past for us and what you continue to do for us.
I'm really thankful to God and to the university community for this honor given to me. I have never experienced this before in life, so this is really something that will go down in the history, and my family, I'm really grateful and thankful. I promise that I will continue to work for University of Mkar and do all that I'm asked to do for the benefit of this university. Thank you. I'm grateful and thankful. Thank you.
Before I invite Reverend Dr. Abangi to say the closing prayer, we'll have a few notices. The high table, our guest, lecturer, chairman, the VC management staff, our newly decorated ambassador. After the closing prayer, we shall retire to the main entrance of the chapel for snapshots. And all student ESCO members are asked to wait behind after the closing prayer. Reverend Dr. Sir.
Vice Chancellor and Chairman and Guest Lecturer. Not in a program there. And on the program, the closing prayer is supposed to be said by Reverend Dr. Kesi Permission to pray. Shall we pray together? Our most precious Father in heaven, Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, we want to thank you, Father God, for this day. day that has been organized for orientation of the fresh students, the day that pastoral status has been given to one of our sisters, the day that we'll have a guest lecturer for this matriculation. Thank you, Father, for your goodness to this place. I want to pray for our Vice Chancellor and management of this university. I want to pray for both staff and students, the Lord will continue to bless us. Now that we want to retire to our offices and places of destinations, we want to commit ourselves into a care the Lord will take us back safely. Hear our prayers because we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.